Vai taca, 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 taca. What up, Cooks? It's your boy, the Hater. I was sorry. I was listening to a song. I was singing along to it. Figured I'd carry that into this video. Today's video is going to be one that I feel great about. Not great in the sense that wrestling is dying because nobody wants that to happen, but one that I feel validated about is probably the better word, right? Several months ago, hell, before WrestleMania, the Hater told all of you that if Cody Rhodes becomes champion, the ratings are gonna dip to under 1.5 million. And lo and behold, almost exactly like I said it would take 8 months. It took 5. You know what I'm saying? It didn't even take as long as I thought it would. It took 5 months for the ratings of SmackDown to dip to 1.4915 million. Now, here's how you know this. You can Google it, and here's how you know it's a huge deal. The article, which is obviously very pro-wrestling, very pro meaning like in support of, not very, so I would say very pro-wrestling, you understand me? The article is like, but however, the key demo, enough with the key demo. The only time that the key demo is ever mentioned is in the context of failing shows. The key demo. Fuck out of here with the key demo. The reality is this, nobody's watching wrestling. Wrestling was never meant to have this weird impact on the key demo. That's just an AEW construct that came up when AEW was just basically losing viewers left and right. Like AEW started and it's been going downhill literally since day one. SmackDown is now, I don't know if this is the lowest it's ever drawn, but it's got to be up there with the lowest SmackDown's ever drawn. Less than 1.5. You understand what I'm saying? So, now, I'm a fair person. The Hater is an honest man. So I'm not going to just blame this all like single-handedly and wholeheartedly on the Cuckster Cody Rhodes. That would be disingenuous. I'm going to blame it on the Cuckster Cody Rhodes and Triple H. You understand what I'm saying? Now, again, obviously, I'm kidding around a little bit. I understand that there's a lot to blame here. But fundamentally, we have to look and blame the people that are in charge, right? And the people that are the face of the operation. Roman Reigns left, so he's no longer the face, right? We were told this explicitly, right? The night after WrestleMania and also on WrestleMania by itself. We were told that what we're about to start seeing here is the new era. The Paul Triple H Levesque era is upon us. And Cody Rhodes was positioned, obviously, as the face of the organization. So Cody Rhodes is now the face. Triple H is now the head booker. He's the head creative, right? So we have removed Roman Reigns, and we have removed Vince McMahon, and we are now in a no Roman Reigns as a face, and no Vince McMahon as a creative era. And only 5 months since that happened, looky, milk and cookie. It's already going down the drain. In other words, what took Vince McMahon years to build is being destroyed by the likes of Triple H and Cody Rhodes in about 4.5-5 months. You dig? That's what's happening. Now, people can pretend all they want. Triple H is doing a good job. We all know that these are the people with anime characters as their profile picture. Oh, I like Yugi and Bakura. I hope they get pushed. You know what I'm saying? Those people are not to be listened to because they don't understand wrestling. They understand anime. You know, you go to like some of these videos and they're like, this guy, and they'll pick like a cool guy, right? Or someone that's like actually successful in real life. They'll be like, Trump is like an anime, protagonist. What? Are you kidding me? If Trump were an anime protagonist, the anime or the manga would be one volume. He would have already solved all the problems immediately because the problems that they have in anime are like nerd problems. Oh, I woke up, turned into a slime or whatever, all this stupid, goofy shit. You understand what I'm getting at here? The point is, these anime nerds have completely ruined wrestling. And their voices are so loud in comparison to people like the Hater, right? Because there's fewer of me. There's fewer soldiers left. Now it's a bunch of dorks. And these dorks insist that Triple H is doing good work, right? Meanwhile, the numbers, which we use to make graphs and charts, show that there is clearly a downswing in basically every metric that matters, right? Now, I will say this. The most important metric, of course, is money. And that's going to take a while to go down. But it is, right? They're getting a shittier deal for SmackDown, obviously. They're now on USA Network, so they're going to make less money off of SmackDown. That's a fact. So if WWE maintains its profit margins, or its profits, I should say, because the margins might stay the same, who knows, right? If WWE, I mean, I doubt it, but like the margins are probably going to change too. But if they maintain their profits, then you just open your eyes and you see where they're sneaking in more ads. Nowadays, there's like straight up, this happens on Raw every episode. Like there'll be a commercial, right? Then there'll be like a 3 or 4 minute segment of Raw, which is a commercial, right? It'll be like Michael Cole being like, this has been sponsored by Slim Jim. And they'll show like, I don't know, Montez Ford or some other low-level like wrestler eating a Slim Jim in the bag, right? Montez Ford and fucking Angelo Dawkins playing with action figures of themselves. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not serious at all. So they're going to make their money through advertisements and other bullshit like that. But nevertheless, that doesn't really change the fact. And the fact is that SmackDown is no longer on Fox. And guess what? You know, I know they're presenting it as a big deal, but NXT, which apparently was on the USA Network, I don't know, I just put it to record, right? NXT, which was on the USA Network, which, as we've established, is not a great network, has now been moved down to the CW, which I wasn't even sure it still existed. The CW is like the lowest level of TV. After the CW, it's off the air, cucks. I mean, there's maybe one more step. There's CW, then there's like Access TV, or wherever the hell TNA is now, and then it's off the air. So NXT is also not drawing anything of value, right? That's obviously the deal. The deal is, hey, we'll take Raw, but please take NXT out of our hands. I'm sorry, we'll take SmackDown, but please take NXT out of our hands, right? That's exactly what's happening. The CW has been a colossal failure of a channel. Now, it gets views, you know, but it's mostly reruns and other bullshit. And I'm a fan. I was a fan back in the day. Steve Harvey show, you know what I'm saying? SmackDown was, back in the day, was on the WB network, which I think became the CW. You know, a lot of that stuff, like, but it's obviously going backwards, right? Going from Fox to CW in terms of like SmackDown is going to USA and then NXT is going to CW. It's over. It's a wrap. It's a failed concept, right? NXT is a failed concept. People don't want to admit it, but nobody gives a shit about NXT. I bet you if you look at the viewership of NXT, it's sub 1 million, which is unacceptable. That's like basically the same as AEW. You know what I mean? It's unacceptable. Like, it's unacceptable. So, anyways, this video was about that. It was about the fact that it's happened, cucks. The thing that the hater predicted many months ago has happened. Less than 1.5 million. It's only a matter of time before Raw, I think it's January, I could be wrong, but by January, Raw is going to be on Netflix where no one's going to watch it. You understand me? Netflix, you get like a new show on Netflix every like 3 days, right? And of course, Raw is going to be like, you know, there. It's going to be like a top 10 show, maybe, for like the first week, and then that's it, motherfuckers. It's a wrap. Nobody's gonna care at all. That's why, don't you see what's happening? Like, they understand that their TV deals are coming to a fucking end. You know, they're trying to make a lot of money, which honestly isn't that much money, because it's like, they'll sign a deal for like, I don't know, $500,000 or something, right? Like with Fox, for like a 5-year deal. Like, Ronaldo gets paid half of that in 1 year. You understand what I'm saying? Like, one man called Cristiano Ronaldo is worth half of that contract by himself for 1 year in Saudi Arabia. You see what I'm getting at? Like, it's a failed concept, cucks. It's a failed concept. And the reality is what the reality is. You have to accept this now so that when it happens, for sure, you don't get shocked. The reality is this. Once Raw falls apart, like, here's what's going to happen with Raw. I'll tell you right now. Raw is going to start off strong. They're going to have Cena. They're going to have The Rock. They're going to draw some eyeballs, right, in hopes that people care about this. And it'll work. It will work. The first Raw on Netflix is going to be amazing, and it's going to draw a lot of eyeballs, right? Then the second week, there's going to be no Cena. There's going to be no Rock. Or maybe one of them will come, the other one won't, right? But by week 15, by week 20, by week 26, 6 months into Raw on Netflix, there's going to be no Rock. There's going to be no Cena. Oh, wait a second. What the hell is this? I thought I was going to see The Rock and Cena. What the hell are Montez Ford and Akira Tozawa doing in a triple threat with Nathan Frazier? That's what's going to happen. People are going to be like, okay, I have no interest at all in this, and they're going to turn the channel. That's what's going to happen, motherfucks. It's over. You know, it's the days of wrestling being anywhere near mainstream are pretty much done. You know, now, of course, they can, and maybe they will pick it back up, right? But as things stand, it's not working out. The reality is as follows. Everyone that's good has been slowly but surely been moved to SmackDown, right? Despite the fact that SmackDown has now failed, right? It's failed. Call it what you want. It has failed miserably because now it's being demoted to the USA Network. The USA Network still is better than Netflix. And that's just a fact, right? It's not a coincidence. that the top guy in the company, Roman Reigns, appears only on SmackDown. It's not a coincidence that the main world title is on SmackDown. Not a coincidence at all, right? It's not a coincidence that the Bloodline, who is presented as a main event faction, is on SmackDown, right? SmackDown is clearly now, for maybe the first time ever, the undisputed A show, right? Now, with all that being said, you can also look at other subtle shifts, right? They hired that new announcer, the Tessitore guy, or Tessitore, however the hell he mispronounces his own name, right? They hired that guy, and where did Michael Cole, the voice of WWE, go? To SmackDown, right? Seemingly for no reason. Well, I'll tell you why. It's because Michael Cole isn't going to be on Netflix. Michael Cole is, unfortunately, one of the bigger draws they have. The voice of Michael Cole is recognizable to wrestling fans because he's been doing it for like 30 years. You know? So when Michael Cole tells you, oh, trust me, bro, don't worry, trust me, Montez Ford is actually good. Even though you see that he's a goof, he's actually good. Trust me, bro, no, trust me, Sami Zayn is a legend. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. Even though you see Sami Zayn and you're like, what the fuck is this guy? He looks like a fucking carrot. You know what I'm saying? He's built like a carrot and he looks like a carrot in terms of his color scheme. But anyways, the point of the matter is exactly that, right? Everyone of value is being put on SmackDown. Orton hasn't been on Raw in years. Why? Because Orton is a draw. And Orton is going to be the guy they put on TV to attract viewers. And believe me, once like Raw goes to Netflix, every single SmackDown, you're going to have like a 10 minutes dedicated time of what happened on Raw, and Michael Cole is going to be pushing Netflix onto you worse than JR when he was pushing John Cena and the Marine. Remember when the Marine came out? Every fucking episode of Raw, there was like at least 5 or 6 instances of JR being like, and now let's cut to a sneak peek of the Marine. Like, enough, it's not going to happen. It's the Marine. Nobody gives a shit about the Marine. You know? Just like nobody gives a shit about Raw. That's how it is, and that's how it's going to be, right? Now, I'm not happy about this, you know? I'm not happy that this is a complete and utter disaster, but it does show one thing, right? I think clear as day, we now can say, you know, with basically 100% certainty that none of what Triple H and Tony Khan think is going to work is working. Absolutely none of it, right? From a business perspective, from a marketing perspective, it might, right? If you have good business sense and you are able to inflate the value of your company and get people like Logan Paul, you pay them a lot of money, they bring in Prime. Prime is a separate company. It doesn't come out of Logan's pockets, right? And Prime forms a partnership with you. Slim Jim forms a partnership with you. Once all these things start falling into place, then of course, you know, you can make a lot of money, right? But the primary metric is viewership. And the viewership is now like basically the lowest it's ever been. Definitely the lowest in these last few years that they were on Fox. So with all that being said, it's like, where do we find ourselves up in this mug? Well, I'll tell you where we find ourselves. Somebody, maybe Jeff Jarrett, I don't know. Maybe Vince McMahon, how crazy would that be? Somebody needs to come back or appear and do a wrestling company justice, right? It's very obvious what sells. Like, and I'll end with this. Last night, I turned on my Hulu and I found a show that's new called Brilliant Minds. It's about some doctor. It's basically like the show Dr. House, but instead of like the charismatic, awesome Dr. House, they got some like little douche, you know, some nerd. You know what I'm saying? He has like no charm whatsoever. So they got this idiot, and I'm like, I'm not gonna watch this show. I'm sure it's gonna be big because like there always needs to be like one medical drama on like that. Like they had like whatever, the one with the autistic doctor, the good doctor. Like that's the same thing as House, except the guy's autistic. You're never gonna capture what House did ever again, but you know, you always need once. I'm sure it's gonna succeed. But just because this show succeeds doesn't mean that it's a good show, right? Doesn't mean that. There's just a vacuum. So if someone has the Dr. House equivalent of a wrestling show, you know, bubbling in their head, this would be the time to reveal that. This would be the time to play your hand. You understand me? This would be the time to say, I'm gonna take a shot to do what Tony Khan sought to do. Except the problem is that Tony Khan did it like a nerd. Tony Khan did it like ROH. And for some reason, he expected a different result than ROH. It's the weirdest thing ever. It's like, we don't care about Tony Khan, right? I don't even think Tony Khan cares about Tony Khan, right? At least from a financial perspective. I don't think he's trying to like make AW be like $1 billion company. I don't think he cares. He's already rich. But he should care about putting on a good show and putting on, something that entertains people and wrestling fans. But hey, it's his money. Who am I to judge him, It's his money. He wants to put on like 5-star wrestling classics. Hey, be my guest, bro. Do it how you want to do it. But nobody cares, right? That's why you're down in the ratings, and that's why, of course, SmackDown is following suit. At this point, motherfucks, if you take the combined viewership of SmackDown, right, and combine it with AEW, and combine it with Raw, and combine it with NXT, if you do all this, right, you get half of what WCW Nitro would draw. Basically, all wrestling programs combined this week draw fewer than half of what Nitro would draw. And realistically, it's about 1/4, not half, because, there's a lot of overlapping viewers, right? There's people that watch both shows. Now, a lot of people watch SmackDown and Raw. So there you have it, Cuts. It's a failed concept. It's over. And quite frankly, Triple H and Cody Rhodes are to blame, right? The face of the company couldn't bring people in, and the booker couldn't bring people in. So, I don't want to hear any of this bullshit about Vince McMahon. Like, Vince McMahon doesn't know what he's doing. Vince McMahon, it's good that he left. Obviously, it's not. And now the numbers dictate that. And speaking of VKM himself, it's time for the Vince McMahon documentary. I intend on watching at least some of it tonight. I don't know how many episodes it is. I'm going to try to finish it, of course. But, I might not be able to finish it tonight. Nevertheless, expect a review. I don't know if I'm going to do an episode-by-episode review or a review of the whole thing. It depends on how well done it is. So we'll see, but keep that in mind. Cuckolds!